Okay, hello everyone. You're listening to a Top Gun oil field training educational video. I've had people ask me about doing a video on how to hook up the wires on the back of a chip panel or a shooting panel. So I figured, yeah, let's put something together, and that way people can see how we do it, the things I look for, the process. So let's just jump into it. Now we have a chip panel here. This is the back of the Warrior system, and then we have a shooting panel, which is a Titan control shooting panel. So let's start with the shooting panel first, because the wire coming from the logging tool, the shooting gun, is going to go into this thing first. Okay. Now you have a drum 1 and drum 2. That is what's on the safe. You can have the knob on the safe. You'll see there's a drum 1, drum 2. Depending on which way you have your wire is the one you got it. If you have a split drum, you can have 2 options for it. Depends on which side of the drum. So that's what that's for. The log is a wire that comes in from or goes to the chip panel. So the top of the chip panel, it says line, log, they are going to connect, because this is going to give permission for the tool to send information through the chip panel, through the shooting panel to the chip panel. So just kind of understand what that's doing. We have an auxiliary. You can plug in the back. You have an auxiliary up front. I have to explain what an auxiliary does. Is this is a bypass. It goes from the tool to another tool or a panel that's outside the shooting panel. Lights. If you have lights, some trucks have a green, blue, red light system. That's where that would plug into. The CCL. The CCL is going to show the CCL coming in from the shooting panel, and it's going to go to the chip panel. So that'll be a wire there. Here's a 12-volt system, probably to run the lights. Titan panels will work just with the ACN. It doesn't have to have the 12-volt. Probe tools, you got to have a 12-volt for it to function. If you don't have 12 volts hooked to a probe, it ain't going to work. So, and I think they discontinued that. But anyway, and I think that pretty much explains that. Now, on the chip panel, we talked about the line. That's where the information is coming from the shooting panel to the chip panel. These WHP1 and 2, WHP wellheads are pressure to me, but I don't think that's what that means. I don't know what the functions are. The auxiliary I've never utilized. The line is also the same as this line. So you may have here's what usually comes from the chip panel. Kind of give you a picture of that dude. That's normally the size, but if it was something like this, all right, it would go in right there on the line. So don't get confused there. Some trucks may have that, some don't. Okay. What else we got? The CCL will be tied to that CCL. This is the computer line. This is going to the computer, laptop, rack mount, whatever you had. This little button here is the same on the front. There's a little front, has an aux on there, or a little square. It's a fancy printer cable. Nothing fancy. You can get any printer cable you want plugged into that. Okay. The printer, that would be down here. This printer line will plug into that. And you can plug it into any of these USB ports. It just has one set up for printer it'll recognize. Got your fuses. And these are the encoder is what's counting. Transducer is your weight. Now this is coming from a benchmark panel. Nothing that has to do with the shooting panel. These will be coming from a benchmark. If they're not coming from a benchmark, they're coming exactly from your measuring head to the chip panel. So anyway, okay, I think we explained pretty much everything. Let's start hooking this thing up. Now what I want to do is always start with the basic stuff. What's coming from the slip ring? That would be the easiest wire. So this wire here would be coming from the slip ring, so I'm going to plug it into drum 1. Okay, so that's the first thing I do. So that's plugged in first. Next thing I do is maybe hook the CCL up. So we have a CCL cord here. Okay, so this is going to go from CCL. These are the basic ones. CCL up to this CCL. You're just relaying the information to the chip panel. Okay. What else we got? The power cords are kind of no-brainers. I think all you'll understand the power cords. So that be hooked up. Okay. All right, it's got that. And the last thing would be our log, which would be our for logging going up to the chip panel. So we're going to put this in log. Screw that one in. So if I do start logging with this tool or whatever's on the end, it'll make it to the chip panel. That would be here. Okay. All right. So that's hooked up. We got another power cord here we need to plug into. I don't have the cords for this, but this will be coming from the benchmark. Get your encoder and your transducers for your weight and your measurement line measurement. What else we got left here? The printer. We could go with a printer cord. So we can go with a printer cord. This will be a USB cord. Plug that dude in. All right. Well, if I can get this thing to go in there. There we go. Okay. And the last thing would be our rack mount cord. This will be going from the computer. So this will go up to a rack mount, to a laptop, whatever you want. Like I said, this is also on the same in the front. It's no difference. It just depends on where you want to plug your computer in. Okay. So we have that. The last thing I really want to show you is on the control fire. If you're going to use the control fire, you got to have a special cord, and it's a USB to USB. And you don't see these too often. You have the extensions, but nothing with a USB to USB. So if you're using a control fire, go on eBay and get you a few of these extra because they do fail. This would plug into the shooting panel. This knob on the shooting panel would be control firearms CF. And this would also go to a laptop to allow you to get the addressable switch system and stuff of that nature. So anyway. All right, so you're ready to go. I'll be honest with you, if you ever have issues and you're not getting electricity or power to your tool, first thing I would do is check that the line coming from the slip rings. That would be the easiest one. This would be drum 1 or drum 2, and that's the line that goes to the slip. Make sure that line is in good shape, and just start from there and start working back. But you'll figure it out. So anyway, I hope this video helps explain kind of what's going on the back of the chip panel. If you got any questions, put it in the comments, and I can learn from you some of the stuff you may have utilized. But some of these other ones that I haven't seen before, you can teach me what they're for. So anyway, all right, we'll talk to y'all later.